Right, so in this video I'm going to give you my top 5 tips into taking great pictures, especially if you're a beginner. Tip number 1, it doesn't matter what equipment you use, whether you use a smartphone, a compact camera, a digital DSLR camera, mirrorless, film, it doesn't matter what camera you use, you can still take great pictures as long as you know what you're doing. Now you've got to take things into account like lighting, composition, we'll get into that in a moment. Even the best photographers in the world, you can give them a toy camera and they'll still be able to take great pictures using a toy camera. So don't let yourself down if you haven't got the best camera, most expensive gear. It doesn't matter. As long as you know what you're doing, how to take great pictures, you can take cracking shots on a smartphone or a digital DSLR camera if I'm using there, or a compact camera. Tip number 2 is post-processing. Knowing what you're doing when you get your images onto your computer, how to edit them. I see many people going out there taking pictures and taking those pictures straight from a camera, uploading them straight onto social media or getting them printed. You don't need to do a lot of editing, just get them into like basic editing software. You can find open source ones for free on the internet. I can't think of any off the top of my head now, but I'll link them down in the description for you. Just go in there, adjust the exposure, adjust the brightness, contrast, the whites and the blacks, just to make our picture look, just pop it out even more. Now one mistake I do see a lot with people processing is over-processing, where they make the greens look too green or the sky is too blue and they mix them up both. It just looks fake, it doesn't look right. So don't go crazy, all it needs sometimes a little bit of adjustment here and there and then your picture pops out. But a lot of people get into the habit of, oh, let's turn this saturation right up, let's make the sky look really blue and the grass really green. So yeah, just be careful that you don't over process it. It looks obvious, it looks tacky, it looks cheap. It's just minor adjustments is all you need to do. So tip number 3 is perspective. Looking at things in a different way. Now you can see it's snowing outside today, so all I've seen on Facebook today are landscape pictures, pictures taken from bedroom windows, just looking out at the street. We all look the same, we all look, you know, well, it gets boring after a while. So what you need to do is take a picture from a different perspective. Get in close, find a leaf on the tree or a bush in your garden and just take like a macro shot, get up nice and close, find unusual angles. Get outside. A lot of people taking pictures from inside. Get outside, get up nice and close to things, find footprints of birds or cats and dogs in the snow. Get nice close pictures of that. That will, it's a lot more creative and imaginative and much more pleasing to look at than the usual boring landscape pictures you see of snows nowadays. Another thing on perspective is if you're taking pictures of children or you're taking pictures of cats or your dogs or whatever other pets you've got, get down to their level, get eye level with them, take pictures from that level. We all see cats and dogs and children every day and we're looking down at them. That's how we see them because we're a lot taller than them, a lot bigger than them. Get down to their level, take pictures from eye level, get into their world, and that will make the pictures look a lot more pleasing. But even get below them, look up at them, make them look big and you feel small. Just something unusual. It's a lot more eye-catching. So next time you take a picture of your children, get down to a level and join in the fun with them as well. Get them laughing, get them smiling, and then I guarantee your pictures will look a lot better. This one is what gets me annoyed the most when I see these kind of pictures, is rule of thirds. Now you need to learn what the rule of thirds are. If you don't, basically imagine 2 lines coming down the screen there and 2 lines coming across the screen there. So that's your rule of thirds. So when you're taking a picture of a subject, don't put them smack in the middle of the screen like I am now. Put them slightly to one side on one of the lines there. So that's just a basic rule of thirds. Your eyes are naturally drawn to any of those lines there, especially with the crossing points. You've got a line here, a line there, you've got the cross there. Get your subject on that line, right there, get the eyes on that X. That way then the picture's a lot more pleasing to look at. But I'd like to say, you know, rules are made to be broken, so not every picture needs to follow the rule of thirds. Now the most popular picture that I see that's done incorrectly, if you like, is sunset pictures or sunrise pictures. People love taking pictures of sunrises, sunsets, I do as well, and they put the horizon straight across the middle of the screen like that. Okay, what you want to do, if you want your picture to focus on the sky, because the sky's all lit up nice and red and the clouds are all, you've got really good contrast in the clouds, bring the horizon down to the line here, the bottom third. Okay, so then the top part of the picture is all over clouds, so your eyes are drawn to that. If for whatever reason the sky is all blue, but you got nice water, like you got nice ripples on the water, you got lots of boats, maybe some birds or children playing, get the horizon of that picture at the top third, so your attention is drawn to the bottom part. Never put horizon across the middle, unless you're obviously breaking the rules for whatever reasons. You can do it, it doesn't always work, so just be very careful when you're doing that. Now, if you consider the shot I've got now, I've got a lot of natural daylight coming in from behind me. So what naturally happens then is that if you try to take a picture now, I'll be all dark, okay, I'll be in the shadow. But the reason why I'm not in the shadow, I got a big light up there. So let me just turn that light off and show you what I mean. So now I've turned that off, you can see I've got dark shadows on one side of my face now and a little bit of light hitting this side. So that's the problem you got when you take pictures against a backlight. Let me just turn the light back on. There you go, so that light is back on now. So it evens out the lighting on this side and that side. So learning the exposure triangle. You need to learn about the aperture, your shutter speed and ISO. You need to understand how they all work, what they all do, and then yeah, you just go from there really. So for example, your aperture, the larger the number, we usually go like f1.2, f4, f5, f9, that's your aperture. So the lower the number, the bigger the aperture is, more light it lets in. But you also need to compensate then. If you've got too much light coming in, you might want to turn down your shutter speed. Change the shutter speed so the shutter is always open for a little bit, lets a little bit of light in onto the sensor to capture that. But if you're shooting in low light conditions, you also need to adjust your ISO. So you've got three things there you need to consider. If you're in a low light situation where your aperture is wide open, you've got your shutter speed down to maybe 1/60th of a second, you need a really steady hand to get a decent picture there, unless you're using a tripod. But if you try taking a picture at 1/60th, 1/20th of a second, even with your ISO, your aperture wide open, you might get a bit of blur, a bit of motion blur. So that's when you need to use your ISO. You need to knock your ISO right up, let more light in, digitally enhances it basically, and then you can take a decent picture then. But the problem with using higher ISO is that you'll get more grain on your pictures. So just be very careful on how you do that. If you can, use some lighting. So that is my top 5 tips. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, like this video and leave some comments below. So until next time, see ya.